Welcome everyone for the session, for my session basically for Data Toboggan Winter Edition 2024. And the topic I'm going to discuss today is about unleashing the power of pre-built AI models with Microsoft Fabric. So I think Microsoft Fabric has been the buzzword and everyone talks about it. And I wanted to talk about some of the AI capabilities that you can use with Microsoft Fabric. So before we get into this session, I want to do a quick introduction about myself. I'm Anupama Natarajan and I'm a Chief Data Officer at GoZeal and I'm based in Wellington, New Zealand. And if you have any questions post this session, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm available on my LinkedIn and here are my blogs, and you can also reach out to me on Twitter. So if you reach out to me with any questions, I'll be getting back to you. So definitely I'll be taking up the questions towards the end of the session, but just in case if either you had a question after the session or if I'm running out of the time, feel free to always reach out to me. So I'm a Microsoft MVP for data platform and AI with 20 plus years of experience working in the IT industry. And so as I said, like I'm a trainer as well as I'm a consultant. So normally I enjoy doing that half and half. The reason is sometimes when you do training, it is always great to bring in real world experiences in your training. And that's what I love doing it. So I've been working in the data and AI and analytics and anything to do with data for the past almost like more than a decade. And so that's my passion really. And that you will definitely see that in this session. A quick agenda of what we will be covering. So we will just get started with what Fabric is, and I'll be going to quickly go through that overview because I know the whole we had a whole track of or the whole sessions that we are running today is all about Fabric. So a lot of my colleagues would have talked to you about what Fabric is, the components of Fabric, the likes of OneLake, the likes of Lakehouse in Microsoft Fabric. But where I'm going to start getting into the detail is around the Azure AI services. So, what are the different Azure AI services that are available, and which services that you can leverage and use it in Microsoft Fabric? We'll look at some of the features of them. And the most important thing, especially with the Fabric and Gen AI capabilities, one thing I always look for is are these features available in all the regions, or is Microsoft just releasing it in certain regions and then not in everywhere? So that's another important aspect to consider because some people are more confined to having their services in their own regions. And if you or your client are in relation to that, then it is good to know where these services are currently available and you can use them. We'll do a quick demo in terms of how can you leverage the AI capabilities with the Microsoft Fabric. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take it towards the end of the session. So what is Microsoft Fabric? And this is a one-stop shop and analytics solution. So when we talk about data platform and analytics, it's especially for enterprises, we always look for a place where we can do everything, starting from getting the data all the way to do data science, or if you want to do real-time analytics or business intelligence, we want to have one space where we can do everything. And that's what Fabric is all about. So it has got everything, all the different services that you need, starting from the data lake to doing data engineering to data integration. Everything you can do it in one place. And also it has a software as a service foundation. So that is the key important part. And the capability of having a one lake in the middle, which pretty much adds much more advantages. So that's the main important thing about Fabric is this one-stop shop, having one lake, which is typically like your one drive for data. And I think I like that phrase which Microsoft came up with in terms of one drive for data, because you can easily correlate to that. Everything you put it in one place, all your data is available, and all these services you don't need to worry about like, okay, I have to get the data for my data engineering purposes. How am I going to get that for my data science purposes, now the data is in OneLake, which means pretty much any of these components can use that data from OneLake. So the key components when we talk about Microsoft Fabric is you can do all these things which I have listed in here in Fabric. So any data engineering activities, basically like getting the data from the disparate data sources, uh, putting that in your OneLake, and then probably whether you want to do that in an automated fashion or manual fashion, you have tools to do that within Fabric. And then you have the data factory. So now data factory includes the uh, power what you have got in Power Query, especially if you have Power BI users. So you know the capability of Power Query, and also the data factory has got that capability embedded in it, along with the ability to use connectors and to connect to disparate data sources to pull that data. And then you have the data science component, and anyone who wants to do or like incorporate machine learning capability or apply the capability inside your data. Now you have got the data science component also embedded within Fabric. Data warehouse, and definitely you need this, especially like where you can store the data and make it available for your, whether it's a real-time analytics or batch-based analytics, doesn't matter. So you need the data in a clean format that can be used for reporting and analytics. Real-time analytics, like whether you get the data from different IoT devices or some apps. So I worked with a lot of clients where they would like to get the real-time data to make informed decisions, like this is doing trading in real time. So I was able to experience like how much they need the data in real time in order to make important decisions. And sometimes these real-time data having that on time arriving in front of the users, like I have literally seen like how much it has increased the revenue of the organization. So Fabric has got that capability now. Whatever data that you have got like arriving in real time, and even if it is in high volume, you will be able to use that within Fabric. And last but not the least is your BI platform, which is Power BI. And now you can use Power BI within Fabric itself. So Power BI is also a component embedded within Fabric, all in one place. So that's one thing I really like about Microsoft Fabric is everything is included in this one tool. So one of the common terms that I think you would have heard about all the speakers using is around when we talk about Fabric is the OneLake and the Lakehouse. So OneLake, as I said, it is basically data source that has been provisioned by Microsoft, and it is on based on the open Delta Lake format. And what it allows you to do is like you can bring in data from anywhere all in one lake, and then pretty much like you can start utilizing the data what you have got in one lake in other components within Microsoft Fabric. So OneLake, think about it as like a OneDrive for your data, and you can ingest all the data in there. And then typically, like if you want to say, I want to work with sales data or finance data, the data is in OneLake, but then you can put them into their own lake houses. Lake houses is basically like a workspace where you can work with that particular data. So that's the key part. So it's you have one stop shop of all your data in one lake, and then if you want to work with them independently on different uh, domains on stuff, like you take the data from one lake and you can use it in the lake houses. And that's the key important aspect, like what's the difference between one lake versus lake house in Microsoft Fabric. So some of the data that we are going to look at in today's session, especially like how do we use AI capabilities inside Fabric. We will have our data loaded in one lake, and then we will start processing with that. So this session is all about how do we use pre-built AI models in Microsoft Fabric, right? So before I jump on to talk about pre-built AI models, I wanted to quickly give you the overview of the different Azure AI services that are available. So Azure AI Services, they are nothing but your cognitive services. So if you have been using cognitive services, now they have got a new name, which is Azure AI Services. But some of the services that I'm going to list here, you would have known about it. Some of the services that are not in the list, they are deprecated. So keep that in mind. They are retired, or that capability has been already brought in a new service. So these services which are not listed in here, which you used to use before, they are retired. So for that reason, I didn't bring in all the retired services. So these services, they are still available, and they're available in GA. The first one is the Azure AI Search. So you can have a cloud powered search which has got the cognitive capabilities embedded in that with Azure AI Search. So if you have heard about cognitive search before, it has got a new name again called Azure AI Search. Azure OpenAI, the buzzword where you can do a variety of things with the natural language tasks. So Azure OpenAI is also classified a part of the pre-built AI model because these are large language models that has been pre-trained and made it available for you. Then you have your bot service, and which basically allows you to create bots, and you can connect them across different channels. Content safety, this may be a new one that you would have not heard before. So with a lot of AI capabilities that are coming in, one of the advantage of using AI on Azure is because of the content safety capability. So anything that you pass on to the AI models, or any response that you are getting from the AI models, they are going to be scanned for any malicious content before it will be served to the end user. So this is the important part, because a lot of enterprises they are not ready to even open up the open AI or the gen AI capabilities because they are worried about whether things will be used in a wrong way, and that's where content safety comes into play. Then you have your custom vision for like analyzing images, and you can just get information extracted out of the image. You can also like customize, like if you want to train your model using images, then you can use the custom vision. Document intelligence, turning your document into reusable data, extracting data out of your documents, that you can do with document intelligence. So the list goes on, like you have face, you have got language, you have got speech, translator, the video indexer, and as well as the computer vision. So as you can see here, variety of AI services that are available. And when I say Azure AI services, I'm meaning the pre-built AI services that are provided by Microsoft. So you have a variety of services, right? But what are the services that are AI services that I can pretty much use in Microsoft Fabric? So Microsoft, what they did is like currently all the AI services that you saw in my previous screen, like I have had a like maybe a handful of services, but only there are three services that are available, which is the Azure OpenAI service, as you all know, because everyone talks about OpenAI these days. So definitely that would be the first thing that Microsoft would be embedding in Microsoft Fabric. Then you have text analytics, Azure AI Translator. So these are the three like AI services that you have got already available in Fabric that you can use. But the other things that you can also do is in case if you want to use any of the other AI services, you can use the AI services in SynapseML with by bringing it within with your own key. So basically, you can provision your AI services on Azure, bring that key. When I say the key, that you have got the access key, and once you have the access key and the endpoint, pretty much you can use that within the SynapseML and do that. So either you can use the out of the box stuff that is available, or you can use the SynapseML in order to use these services, and you can bring your own key for that. So that's an important thing to understand. These three services, they are available out of the box, and you have support for both a REST API as well as SynapseML. And if you want to use the other cognitive services API or the Azure AI services, basically you can still do that. But if you want it available as at the pre-built AI models in Fabric, you need to wait and watch because more and more services will be added in that space. So when we talk about OpenAI service, the key models that are supported with the Fabric is the GPT-3.5 Turbo model. So the GPT-3.5 Turbo model, they can understand natural language, text as well as code. So this is one of the best optimized model, and of course GPT-4 is much more better than this. And so this model along with GPT-4, they both can understand code as well as natural language. Then you have the embedding model, which is the text embedding at R002. Those suffixes like 002, 003, they basically mean it is the version. So the version that we are using, which you can use it as text embedding at R002. I think I repeated it here. I think it's only one you need. You don't need to keep repeating on that. Then you have got the text Davinci and the code Cushman, and some of these models like the text Davinci and code Cushman, they are legacy models, and now they will be decommissioned around I think June or this year, June or July this year. What it really means is like Microsoft have created another model called GPT-3.5 Turbo Instruct model, which can work with, or they folded the capabilities of these models inside that. So you can, so organizations can move on using the new model and get rid of these old models. So the main reason I'm highlighting these is these are all supported within Fabric. Then you have text analytics. So we talked about text analytics is supported, which means you can use language deduction and you can give any input, and using text, the language deduction, you can find out the language of the input. We can do sentiment analysis within Fabric with the help of the sentiment analysis as part of text analytics. You can extract key phrases. You can also identify personally identifiable information, entity recognition, as well as entity linking. So all these are capabilities of text analytics, which you can now do that with Microsoft Fabric. Then you have your AI translator service. So the translator service, basically what it can do is like you can use the translate API to translate text, transliterate if you want to convert text from one language for one dialect to another dialect, you can do that transliterate. So if you want to detect the language used in a particular text, you can do that. If you want to identify the positioning of your sentence boundaries, you can do that with break sentence. And of course, the other two services like dictionary lookup and dictionary examples, they're all available as part of the Azure AI Translator within Microsoft Fabric. One of the thing which I really talk about to all of my in all of my trainings, especially when I do AI based trainings, is the availability of these services across different regions. So not all of these services, especially when they are in preview, will be available in all the regions. So if you're planning to use the Azure OpenAI service, make sure like they are available only in East US, East US 2, South Central US, West US, and France Central as of today. And similarly, the text analytics and Azure AI Translator, they are available in much more variety of regions. So if you're having a conversation with your customer, make sure like just tell them if their data uh, needs to be used in only in a particular region because they are confined to the compliance boundary and their own geographic region, then probably like you have to inform them ahead if you want to use these services in when they are in preview, or currently these services are available only in certain regions. And but watch the space, because I think Microsoft, when these services get into GA, then pretty much like they expand the amount of regions from where you can use them. But OpenAI service is what currently is limited in terms of where you can use certain capabilities. Cool. So enough of what we have been talking about, right? So let us understand how all these things work with Microsoft Fabric, and especially like how do we do AI or use the pre-built AI models with Microsoft Fabric through a short demo. So here, what I'm going to do is I have a series of information about the hotel reviews. Like I have collected a lot of reviews about my particular hotel, and which I have got available and I can use it for analysis. So what I'm going to do is use the AI capability in how I can use that in the Synapse, or sorry, not Synapse, it's a fabric environment. So how do I use that in the fabric environment with AI capability embedded with that? So one of the thing to keep in mind is there is with Fabric, I'm just going to demonstrate this in my trial tenant. The trial tenant currently doesn't use the open AI capability, so that's the one I won't be able to demonstrate. But the other options like the text analytics or the AI, other AI capabilities that I can showcase it to you how you can use it in Fabric. Because for open AI, it needs like a paid Fabric tenant in order for you to use that. So that's the only limitation currently you have got. But you can pretty much try that other services that we talked about in your tenant, even though they are other cognitive services or Azure AI services, you can literally use them in your trial tenant. Cool. So let me pull through my Synapse environment. So when we talk about incorporating AI in Microsoft Fabric, we are talking here about using the data engineering part. So let me go back here and quickly showcase it to you. And yeah, so quickly showcase it to you. I have got the data engineering part in here. So here, pretty much you can see all the different components that we discussed in the Microsoft Fabric topic. So data engineering is a part in here. Then you have got data science, a part in here. So I'm going to do this demonstration, even though this is AI related. I can go into data science and start doing it. So I'm going to use the import notebook capability because I have got all my data capabilities, like what am I going to do today, all written in my Python notebooks. So what I'm going to do is use the import notebook capability, and I'm going to upload the notebook that I have got, which I deal with the hotel reviews. So I'll select the file. So the file is getting imported as we speak. So I'm going to go to my workspace and so launch this particular file in here. So this particular notebook has got all the capabilities or commands that I want to do in order to deal with that. Great. So one thing, as you can see here, I'm trying to reference a Lakehouse, and I don't have a Lakehouse at this point because it's just a new workspace I created. And so I have got my notebook imported. And what I'm going to do is I don't have a workspace in here. So I may need to create a workspace that I have already got in other environments. So I want to just add a lake house. So I want to create a new lake house. And so let me look at the name. So lake house I want is hotel reviews. So I will go ahead and create my new lake house and use it in here. So as you can see, I'm creating that. So this is going to be your empty lake house, and it doesn't have anything other than just writing it. So here I have my hotel reviews. So these lake houses are available. They are empty, doesn't have anything. And now I'm going to start performing quite a few things in here in conjunction with this lake house. And I want to showcase it to you how I can use the AI capabilities or the pre-built AI capabilities in here. So here, what you get to see is the first part is I want to load some data. So we are talking here about the review of the hotel, about the hotel. So I have got a CSV file which has got all the data, all the reviews about my hotel, and I want to, it's available in a blob, and I want to bring that data and store it into my lakehouse. That is the first part I'm doing it in here. So to just get the data and get the data loaded into my lakehouse. So if you look at the code, it doesn't do anything other than your common stuff in terms of like go and look at this particular remote URL where I have got all my reviews available as a CSV file, and make sure like we have the data stored in a lake house called hotel underscore reviews. And if you want to change that, basically like you can go ahead and change it here where it's not the download path, it is the lake house what you want to create. Make sure that I would like to create something similar that that can store my hotel reviews. So once you have done that, then pretty much you can run it in order to just get the demo files linked into your lakehouse. Okay, so cool. So this is pretty much saying like I can't, yeah, it is running it in here. So the session started now initially because it was warming up a bit, and then I wasn't able to get that. So this is showing an error right now saying the default lakehouse is not found. And okay, so that's not an issue. What we can do is we can run this, stop the session basically, and choose the environment. Okay, so this is all correct in terms of the environment we are choosing. The language is used in Python. So what I'm going to do is probably I'll use my default workspace where I had got the details. So let me get into my default workspace, which I was in before. Cool. I think I should be able to use this itself. Sorry. So I can just get into cool. So I have already got that in here. So maybe let us use an existing workspace, right? So for some reason, this workspace is not picking it up. So that's okay. So we can just go back here in my lake houses and just go and look at, get rid of this one and add my hotel reviews. Just it will give one more try. Okay, so basically it clearly says the information saying you have got the lakehouse created, and you need to just associate the lakehouse with your notebook, and that's what hasn't been happened. Let me get the notebook in here. Just give me a sec. I'll just add the notebook in here. So just get me back. Cool. So here we can just go ahead and try running this. So it's the same data. So we are going to go ahead and bring in the information from that particular location where I have got all my hotel reviews. Great. So this has now run once I associated it. So now if I go and look at it, I have got my hotel review table created and also the files that are associated in here. So the raw files, if I need to, I can go and see the CSV file. So then you have also the tables associated with that. So you can also test that by running the display command here just to see, okay, show me the content of my CSV file, what I have loaded in here. So here I can see the content of my CSV file is basically a list of all these columns along with the reviews. The interesting part is the reviews are just not in English, but there are some reviews that are in a different language too. So that is also something to note it down here. So if I pull this a bit, So as you can see here, the reviews are not, mostly it's in English, but there are also some reviews or in other languages, like you can see here. They are also available in the reviews. So now I'm going to use Synapse in order to, first thing is to import all the necessary packages that I require in order to work or embed my Azure AI services with this. So we are going to use SynapseML, and SynapseML is basically an open source library. And if you're dealing with large volumes of data that you want to use it with or add AI capabilities to that, you can use the SynapseML pipelines. So you can use SynapseML package, and then you can start integrating that with the any pre-built AI models you have got. So here I can go and import the packages. And one of the thing that we as we looked at is like because the hotel reviews that we have got is available in different languages, so people have reviewed it in different languages. But as part of doing analysis, it would be great for me if I can convert them into one language, which is English, and then I can use it for future analysis purposes. So that's where the AI translator service comes into play. So because with the translator service, what I can do is I can take all the text that I have got, especially in different languages, and the translator service will be able to take these languages, convert it from one language to n number of languages that you need. So translator service alone supports more than 100 languages, and it can translate a lot of the languages from different scenarios, like from call centers, like a conversational agents, and so on. So what we are going to do is use this pre-built AI model, which is the AI translator, and convert the text from one language to another. And in our case, like we are going to translate whatever language we take the review, hotel review, and we find out what language it belongs to, and then we will translate it, and we will translate that into English. And that's what pretty much that we need. So here, if you look at it, we are going to look at the review text column, and we are saying like, okay, translate whatever you have got in there into English language. And once it is done, then probably like we are going to just update that column with the required translation stuff. So when I run this, so the good thing is like it spins up the Spark job, and it is going to complete and provide us the thing. So what it is trying to do here while it is running is it takes each and every review text, and it is going to just put that and get the review text translated. So as you can see here, I have the review text and I have got the translated version. So this is basically that you can see the version where it is in a different language in the original review text. And this is what the translator service brought it in terms of the translation capability. So this is a classic example, because now you have the translation done. Now you can take that new translated column and you can use it for further analysis, like in terms of sentiment analysis, right? So that's how, like the scenarios where you can use it. So I can bring in any of my AI services and I can start utilizing it in here and get the advantage. The other thing we talked about is the text analytics service capability. So now you can use the text analytics capability where you can understand and analyze the text using natural language processes. So here I have got, I'm going to do some keyword extraction. And what I'm going to do here is like I analyze the translated text, and I will say like, okay, get some of the keywords out of those translated text, and I can use it in the keyword key phrase extraction. So here I'm going to do the analysis and get that extracted. So what you are going to see here is like you will be able to pull through uh, the data. So here we are going to get the key phrases extracted. So what we have done is we have given this translated output and to the pretty much like the next service that we were looking at. So what we were doing is like we were using the Azure Text Analytics service and the keyword extraction service in specific. And what we are doing is extracting all the keywords out of these translated text. So now you can see here, we used the translation service, we used the keyword extraction service, and now the other part is like using OpenAI. So OpenAI service, like you have got REST APIs available as part of the OpenAI service. So when you provision an OpenAI service in your Azure platform, you get access to the GPT-4, GPT-3.5 models, and all these models can be used for a variety of things. Like if you want to generate content on the fly, you want to summarize the content, you will be able to go ahead and do that. So one of the thing we would like to use the GPT models is to say like, okay, can I take the reviews and ask the GPT model to categorize them into 4 different categories? And so that's what this particular thing does. But unfortunately, as I said, I'm running Fabric in a trial version, so I won't be able to provide you the output. But I have a pre-run output from in this notebook that is saved, and I will be able to showcase that. Yeah, so here this is the input that I'm saying, but I think I haven't got an output. So this is the input. I send the prompt in say classify the article or the whatever the translated thing is, translation is, and then tell me in which category that it belongs to. So then I'm using the text dependency, but I think you can use the GPT-3.5 models. And what it does is, as you can see here, you need to have the FT1 SKU on Fabric. So if you are trying to use the OpenAI models in your trial version, you will have an issue because just for the OpenAI, you can do the the translation service and the text analytics service in trial version. But if you're using the OpenAI version, it needs the F1 SKU FT1 SKU, and if you have that SKU with your Fabric, then only you will be able to run that. So this is what I want to show. But in if it runs correctly, it takes this prompt and it will the prompt is basically saying use the translation data and tell me whether I can classify that under service, location, facilities, or sanitation. This is really important for you to classify because what it will make is like you can, if someone is doing sentiment analysis, then you can segregate them, go and facilities team, this is your the feedback that we received from you, or services team, this is the feedback from your what we received from the customer. So it already does that for you and group the reviews based on the different categories. So like a lot of potential that you can get out of the embedding with Azure or OpenAI service, but this is just a showing for this particular data set. You can easily categorize them and then you can just utilize it. So moving on from that, so this is just showcasing the output. So now you can once the classification in my case, like the classification was null because I couldn't run the open AI model. But just to highlight it to you, it ran and it said like, okay, I can't, it added the new classification column and said like, okay, I don't have the value. But that's what the thing. So we started with just the reviews text and we used the translation service to got the translation wherever it is not in English. And then we extracted the key phrases out of those translated text. And finally, we have the ability to add a classification based on the key, like on the translation text that we have got. So that's what it is good. So then what we can do is the next step is like you can start taking the results and so store it into a data lakehouse, and then you can start building your Power BI report over that. So even though I'm not showing a Power BI report in here, but the thing you can understand, right? This table can be used as a semantic table inside your Power BI. So you can connect to the OneLake data hub from Power BI, choose this particular lakehouse, and then you take the hotel reviews from the lakehouse, and then you can create a new report. And now you have all these additional columns that you can showcase it, like which group it belongs to, and then you can now filter it by the classification if the classification was done with OpenAI, and then use it in Power BI. So that's pretty much how quickly, how you can get this data and use it in your Fabric. So just to quickly summarize the things that we have been doing in this demo, we had a CSV file which had a list of hotel reviews, and we brought the CSV file and stored it into our Lakehouse. And once we stored it into our Lakehouse, we get the data and started using the data to be pushed into any of your Azure AI services. In this case, we took the Translator service to start with. We took the review text column alone, and we took each and every review text called the Translator service, and this is all done by the SynapseML code that I showcased in the notebook. What it does is it invokes the Azure AI service, which is the Translator service in this case, get the output, and then we added the translated output as a new column in that existing data set. Then we just call the next one, which is around you have the text analytics service. And one of the thing in the text analytics service is uh, basically like we wanted to know the keywords. So we wanted to extract the keywords out of the review text that we have got, and we took the translated text, each and everything, we passed it on to the keyword extraction, and we got the keyword extraction and we put that in a separate column. The third thing, we were attempting to call the Azure OpenAI service. The Azure OpenAI service, if you want to call that within Fabric, and make sure that you are running it on under a plan. It doesn't work in a trial version. So when you run it under the plan, you need to just send a prompt. So that's why you saw the prompt beside each and every column there. And let me quickly show you that alone, because especially if you are new to Gen AI and new to Azure OpenAI service, so prompts are really important because you need to tell the model exactly what you are looking for. When you create a prompt and like this, and then when you send, classify the below text into any of these categories, and it will do that. And of course, you can give some examples as part of the prompt itself. The more examples you give, the more the prompt will be more specific, the response will be more specific to your prompt. And that is the important thing with the Azure OpenAI service. And finally, what we can do is once we have added, like enrich the data here with all the different AI services, now you can make the lakehouse available for further reporting and analytics. That is in a nutshell. Quickly, I wanted to show you how you can make use of these services within Microsoft Fabric and leverage them. And please note it down, that is still they are in preview. And once it becomes GA, pretty much it is in the process of you can do that as part of your day-to-day, like a data engineering aspect, by getting the data and enriching it with AI capabilities. So with that note, I think almost I'm towards the end of the session. So I'm happy to take up any questions if you have got around what I have covered in the last 45 minutes or so. So any questions that you have got, feel free to ask me now. And of course, thanks Data Top again for giving me the opportunity to present about this topic.